Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Monday night. I'm back on my own. I'll explain that in a minute. I'm asking the same question I ask every Monday night. What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. As you can see, I am wearing this outfit in homage to the main man because 28 years ago, King Kenneth had a wobbler, the biggest wobbler probably in modern day football history, when Alex Ferguson wound him up. And what he said was, I'd love it if we beat them. Love it. But for me personally, I just love it if you click subscribe. We're close to 7,500 subscribers, so smash that button, guys. Help us get there. If Mark was here, he'd probably be pissing himself laughing, but sadly he isn't here today because he's poorly sick. So give Mark some love in the comments if you can, guys. But I will do my best to steer this bus on my own tonight. I'm going to take these off in a minute because they're doing my nutting. I couldn't actually get them connected, so I've only got my other headphones underneath. But yes, we'll get stuck in. We are live tonight, as always, and we love the chat from you guys, and I might need a lot of it tonight, but bear with me, a little bit of patience because it's just me flying solo. We've already got some guys in the comments there. Stevie B, even to you, mate. Ian is in the house as well. Am I on the decks? I am on the decks, Ian. Chrissy C, DJ Chrissy C in the house. Even to you too, Marcus. I'm going to take these bloody things off now because I have only got one headphone in because they are jamming into my lugs. But yes, it is me flying solo tonight, sadly, because Mark isn't well, as I said. So give Mark some love in the comments. But smash the comments in, guys. Help us going tonight. We always like the interaction and the chat. It is me on my own, but we'll do as long as we can do, as long as I hold out anyway this evening. So let's get stuck right in then. The first topic we're going to cover tonight is basically the easiest one we're going to talk about, which is our dynamic duo, Alexander Isak and Bruno Guimaraes. We definitely needed them at the weekend to help get those points. It looked very, very dicey in the first half. A lot of you in the chat on the post-match with me as well. And, I gave credit to Sheffield United. I thought they came to St James's Park. They weren't scared. They rolled their sleeves up. They really went at us. They showed they weren't intimidated by Newcastle. They weren't intimidated by, the flags and the atmosphere and everything else, just on the flags as well, by the way. I mean, how amazing was that display, for the Brazilian boys in the ground. I mean, a lot of you in the ground in the chat there, let us know what you guys thought. What was your viewpoint of that brilliant display? It's every single home game, War Flags just seem to surpass themselves completely with what they do. And make no mistake about it, that display meant a lot to Bruno, and I'm sure Joe Linton watching as well. But Bruno even had a tear in his eye. A lot of people wouldn't have seen it because it wasn't really on the cameras. But Bruno went across. He showed his appreciation. He left the team there, and he gave a massive clap, to the display. And then after the game, he was saying he was trying not to cry and everything else as well. And him and Joe Linton were obviously buzzing off the atmosphere. So that's mint to see. It's mint for War Flags as well. The amount of work those guys put in is phenomenal. Really, that they're a credit to the football club. They really are. And you can see a lot of other clubs probably envy what those guys do, But back to the game in itself, I think it was slipping away from, from us really in the first half. We probably should have been about 3 or 4 down, I think. Really, well, maybe 4 is a bit of a stretch, but 3 goals down, I would say, in the first half. They got in behind way too much. We just seemed totally disconnected. We were scattered. They were static. They weren't moving. There was a lot of moans and groans from the terraces. You guys as well in the comments, let us know about what you heard in the ground as well. Certainly from the stream that I was watching, it was noticeable how pissed off people were, getting a bit restless. Certainly with certain players who aren't having a good time of it at the moment. And I do feel for those players because if they are playing injured, then they shouldn't be playing. And for me, you should rest them, but unfortunately, they just don't seem to have the squad depth to do that. Certainly with the injuries to the likes of Louis Miley, Joe Linton should be back fairly soon. Maybe that will give those players a chance to rest. I'm not going to say his name because he's had a lot of shit recently, and he is a good lad, isn't he? Really at heart, so I'm not going to dig him up too much. Mark is in the comments, guys, if you haven't seen already. Good evening all. He's sorry he's not with you in person. I know the podcast is not as good looking tonight, mate, but hopefully the patter will carry me over the line. It's worked for me so far, but yes, give Mark some love in the comments, guys. It's great to see him in the chat there this evening, and I'm sure he'll be pulling me up on things if I get things wrong, as he always does. But going back to the game itself, I think it really took Bruno to grab it by the scruff of the nuts, really. I think once he started to get on the ball, things started to happen. Credit to Jacob Murphy. As I said, after I jumped on X and called him shit and said he should have been hooked, he played probably the ball of the match. And Alexander Isak, who just finishes with aplomb. He gets the penalty as well later on, and he has 19 Premier League goals for the season. He's chased down Erling Haaland, who scored obviously the weekend to push himself ahead in 21 goals, I think. So it's Cole Palmer, Isak, and Haaland all vying for the Golden Boot, and that's just unbelievable. It really is to have a striker up there again. He scored the most top flight goals for Newcastle United since Alan Shearer, and it's not surprising. For me, he is the best striker we've had since Alan Shearer. Wilson's been class, no doubt about that. He showed again his quality at the weekend when he came on. Great finish, brilliant assist by Barnes as well, I must say. But Isak he just seems to have everything, doesn't he? People are talking about Haaland's ability as a footballer, but Isak has that ability. He's got the touch, he's got the skill. He can move from foot to foot. He can come short. He can run in behind. He's got all types of finishes in the locker, and he's still, what is he, 23, 24, something daft like that. He's still a young man. He's got all that football career ahead of him, really, to be anything that he wants to be. People talk about Mbappe and stuff like that. Listen, I know Mbappe's had some unbelievable years just with the numbers that are just ridiculous. But you look at what Isak's doing right now in one of the top leagues in the world, and he's just standing out. He's just looking absolutely brilliant. There is a story doing the rounds that I think Newcastle are going to renegotiate a new and improved contract for Alexander Isak, and that to me is just an absolute no-brainer. Get the guy signed up, build the team around Isak and Bruno. Craig Hope did his video out. We did our video with reference to yourself, Bruno. I think out of those two, we could probably still kind of do what we're doing without Bruno, but not without Isak. As much as I love Bruno and he's absolutely mint, you cannot go out and get a player like Alexander Isak for less than about 150 notes. You really can't. There's no player on the planet that can give you what he's giving you right now for less than 150 million quid. It's as simple as that. So give the lad a new contract, bump his wages up, and just build a team around him, get the ball to him as much as you possibly can. But obviously the game transpired. Like I say, once Gordon got into the rhythm, yeah, you're right, Ian, bang on. You can't replace goals. It's the most expensive commodity in football. There is no doubt about that at all. Yeah, and his Toon # strikers are so hard to find in today's market. They're on the blow hot and cold Toon. You remember Evan Ferguson, we were all calling the next Alan Shearer a few months ago. Where's he gone? He's completely dropped away. As Mag debates are saying as well, don't sell the Iceman, lol. Absolutely, mate. Yeah, the Iceman can stay cool and frosty in the northeast winds, mate, 100%. As Keith says as well, Isak seems to almost float in the scoring positions. He's unbelievable, Keith. He haunts centre-half's dreams. I said that a few weeks ago. There's a WhatsApp group. I got skinned by Alexander Isak, and they're all just going to get together in the summer in like a circle, almost like Alcoholics Anonymous, and just stand up and go, hi, my name's Jared Branthwaite. He put me on my arse. Hi, I'm Mickey van der Veen. And they're just all going to talk about how Alexander Isak just murdered them really in the Premier League. And he's only going to get better next season. And he works on his fitness and his durability, and I'm having another striker to interchange with him. I think he's just going to cause even more damage next season. He really is. But the game itself, we found the rhythm. Gordon found his rhythm. Bruno had his foot on the ball. And we just, Sheffield United just folded really like a deck chair on Blackpool Beach when the wind's blowing. They were done. And I did feel a bit sorry for them because, they've had a tough season, Sheffield United fans, but massive credit to them. They stood there and they stayed there all game. Even when they got absolutely battered, they stayed there and they even clapped our lads off as well. So massive credit to the Sheffield United fans. They're proper fans. They've been through the mill. They know they're going to go down. They want to come back up, but they want to be in better shape. I was watching a bit of a Sheffield United podcast, and then the lad was very honest. He was raw. He was emotional, but he was right. Everything he was saying. There's no point coming back up if you're not going to have a proper go at it. And I think I said this in post match. I feel so sorry for the Championship clubs coming up. You've got Leicester coming up now, and you look at it and you think, Leicester are already getting done by PSR and FFP, which I know has changed a bit today with this anchoring and all sort of stuff. Could be good for Newcastle. I think when you looked at the grid, I think Kieran Maguire put a grid out. I think we could spend up 200 million quid or something like that, whereas likes of Chelsea, Man United and City were shrunk down a little bit. So it could give us an edge in the market. City might have to sell to buy, which is what it should be like because the squad that they've got is ridiculous. But going back to the promoted teams, how the fuck can they come up and have a go, when they just can't buy any players? It's such a shame they're stuck with lads that they've come up with. And sometimes that's really good, but sometimes they're just not good enough, and that's the reason why you go down. Dave is saying, funny thing is Arsenal fans are convinced they're signing Isak in the summer. Yeah, we're convinced Laura Woods is going to be a guest presenter on the Evermore podcast. She's going out with Geordie, lad, after all. You never know. Fuck it. She might fancy it. But yeah, that's about as much chance of that happening, Dave, as Isak going to Arsenal. But yeah, so like I say, the game itself, it kind of transpired into us just being dominant towards the end, even though we weren't particularly great in that first half. And it's good to see, and especially with Man United drawn as well against Burnley. We'll get onto sixth in a minute, but that was a great result for us, really, that, in terms of the push for that final, run at the European positions. And I really think if everybody stays fit, which is a big if for Newcastle, if we can get Joelinton back into the team, Trippier might see 2 or 3 games. Pope might even see 2 or 3 games, in the remainder of these last 4 games. And that's only going to make us stronger. And I think it's a good sign. I mean, some of the bad things from the game, certainly the first half, I felt Dubravka again just didn't have the presence. I said this in post-match. He didn't have the presence. I think he should do better with the goal. I really do. I think he needs to be stronger. He gets beaten too easy. He gets rounded by Burton Diaz. Thanks to Dan Burn, I think on 2 or 3 occasions saved his arse with real last-minute blocks. Dubravka is not good enough to step in and play regular Premier League games for this football club, pushing for 6th or 4th or higher. He just isn't good enough. Gillespie's just signed a new contract as well. Nobody carries waters and sings Ronan Keating on a karaoke like that boy does he? He's got the best season ticket in the world, doesn't he? To be fair, he gets paid to come watch Newcastle play. Just fucking sits there. But he's signed on for the 3rd choice keeper, clearly. So I think Dubravka will probably go. Pope and whoever the new keeper will be the 1 and 2, effectively, whichever order that's going to be. Sorry, coming there from Kev. Sorry, Marcus, I just clicked you by mistake. Yeah, Kev, Mark is not well tonight, mate. So he's recovering. He's recuperating. So send him your love, mate, and support. It does take a lot to knock the big man down, but hopefully he's going to be back better and stronger as well. You missed my Keegan intro as well. He's devastated because I had this all lined up, but I'm flying solo, so I couldn't go as full hammer as normal because I've got to do all the buttons in the background as well. The man in the chair does that very well. It's hard when you've got to talk and do the buttons as well. Marcus is saying Sheffield were pretty cool when I was a teen. Def Leppard and many new wave bands from where I used to go and see. I remember going to see Sheffield United versus Fulham when Lewis Beaumont was playing there. My mate had a girl he was going out with in uni who ended up staying in this house. Some weird kid playing the guitar at like 4 a.m. or something like that. But yeah, Sheffield was cool. I enjoyed it. Some good bars. Coming there from is it Adorai? Hi Chris. How Burnley versus Newcastle United, Dubs and goal, Lewis Hall. Yeah. We'll maybe look at that in a second. Yeah. That sounds like a good lineup to me, mate. I think Joelinton might get a little bit of time off the bench there. I really do. J7 Tuna saying deluded Arsenal fans are adamant that they're getting Isak for 90 million. Yeah, right. Keep dreaming. Yeah, it seems to be a reoccurring trend that Arsenal and dreaming because Pep Guardiola is about to shatter their dreams about winning the Premier League. Yeah, Mag debates keep Isak and Bruno with a few more shrewd signings. We could challenge for the league next year. It's not a bad shout, mate. It's not a bad shout. Ian's not happy with Gillespie staying. We've sent him over the edge. Yeah, Kevin's saying get well soon, Mark. Absolutely, mate. I echo those statements. He's like, my Terry Mack, I'm missing my Terry Mack tonight. So my Keegan just levels him out, then he stops from going a bit crazy. Duncan is saying results have been going our way, but let's not depend on that. Let's get Europe on our own merit. Absolutely, 100%. Lee Toff says we should go for Milan's goalkeeper. I do like him. He's a decent keeper, good shot stopper as well, decent with his feet. And I think that's where Pope maybe falls down a little bit. But yeah, I suppose wrapping up the kind of dynamic duo, I mean, they're head and shoulders above anybody in that team. They really are. Even if we're fully fit, I think, even if Joelinton's there, even if Barnes is firing, even if Trips is there, Trips is still a mint player. There's no doubt about that. His leadership qualities, his ability on the ball, his ability from dead balls. But mind you, I have been enjoying watching Anthony Gordon take set pieces. He set up a few goals now. Another one at the weekend with a great down header from Bruno. He looks really comfortable on it. He's obviously worked on that. And I think Lewis Hall's got a wonderful left peg too, and he's so really good, really good. So yeah, it's nice to have a bit of variety there, in terms of set pieces. But listen, Trips is a great player. There was a little bit of crazy drama before about Trippier getting sighted at the airport, going to Dubai. I kind of jumped on and said, oh, he's probably just going for a sponsorship thing or something like that. And then literally within about maybe an hour of that post coming out, Craig Hope, basically verified that he's going over there for some warm weather training with a physio, which is, if everyone just calms their mind a bit, it's like Professor X there, calm your mind a bit. He's just going over for what players do. Wilson did the same thing, but nobody was asked about Wilson because, Isak was fit and scoring goals. But, Trips will be back. He wants to get on that plane for England. He wants to prove he's fit. So does Nick Pope. And I think that's why we'll probably see him for the last couple of games. J7 saying, Chris, if City have to sell to buy Rodri at the Toon, oh, mate, I'd love Rodri. What a player he is, man. He's just different class, isn't he? Absolutely different class. David is saying we should be well under the UEFA 70% threshold next season if we hit the average of 40% revenue increase annual, which I think we probably will, would hit 53 and open up the revenue for players. Very much so, mate. Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably where some of these crazy commercial deals like memberships where people don't get tickets, cough, cough. I don't need cough, cough. I'm coughing in real life here. But, these things that increase revenue, then, this might come back and help us here, David. You're absolutely right. Stevie B is saying we can play like we did in the first half in our remaining games, or we miss out in Europe. No, absolutely, maybe we can't play like that. There's no doubt about that. Shorter saying Tonali, 4 more months to go. I think I saw that showing 6 games since Tonali's back. I mean, that's mad. That seems to have flown by, that, doesn't it? Absolutely flown by. Scrolling down here, yeah, Kev's worried about the Burnley game. We'll do a preview for Burnley, Kev. But I mean, Burnley have really stepped it up. I think I think they're unbeaten in was it 7 or something like that, or 6. So it could very well be like a bit of a Palace game for us, and I hope the result will be different, obviously, because that is a little bit concerning if we have the same kind of result against Burnley as we did against Palace. But yeah, wrapping up the dynamic duo, I think as long as those two are fit and on form, we really can grab any game and win it, because you've got a player like Bruno who can do what he does on the ball. You've got a player like Isak who can do what he does in front of goal. And if you have those two players in your side, you can win games. And even games you probably shouldn't be winning, in all fairness, which is exactly what we did. Sorry, Kev's just in the comments there saying, Chris, isn't that the same sort of Keegan talk? Yeah, I did do a bit of a Keegan intro, Kev. I couldn't go full tilt because I was doing the buttons and stuff. But this is my homage to Keegan, because on this day, Kev, 28 years ago, it was the love it rant on Sky, which I still love. I absolutely adore it. Love when you see the players get interviewed as well. But I think Les Ferdinand was on the overlap and they asked him about it. And he says that was just Kevin. He said, they were asked, the players went training in the morning and they weren't bothered. They basically said, that's just Kevin. It's just the gaffer. The Man U players were obviously all laughing, thinking that he'd lost the plot. That was obviously just him, wasn't it? Paul is saying, funny Isak living on every Arsenal's head, rent-free, dream on Arsenal. There's the same with Bruno as well, Paul. They didn't sign him. They had the chance to sign him the first time around. They didn't take it. They fell asleep and they missed it. We signed him. So, stick it in your pipe. Stick it in your pipe. I think I have heard about the Japan pre-season tour show. I'm waiting for it to be confirmed. Apparently, we are looking at Japan. It's a huge revenue stream, I suppose, and a fan base again for the club to open up. I mean, we did train over there, wasn't it? Was it Thailand or something where Shearer signed? I think way back in these days. And we were over there, for a pre-season tour. But I always remember seeing the likes of Man United go there, Liverpool go there, obviously Madrid, people like that. It's a huge fan base that's thirsty for the Premier League. So it makes sense to me. Why wouldn't we go over there? Why wouldn't we exploit that revenue stream as well? Absolutely. Duncan is saying he's really looking forward to the next transfer window. 6 players out and 8 in the top 4 finish guaranteed. We do have to cut some of this dead wood out, Duncan, as well. Absolutely. We have to get rid of some of these players that are just taking up space, like Dummett and Richie and people like that. Excuse me, I'm just wetting my throat here before I start coughing. Those kind of players, as good as they've done for the club over the years, they're just not offering anything. When you see Richie coming on, when I saw Richie coming on in the Sheffield United game, that's pretty much it. The Sheffield United fans probably thought the same, in all fairness. Kendo was saying on the Japan tour, we can pop over and see how Lingard is doing. Yeah, not very well. I think the manager, they said he was extremely unprofessional, I think is what he did say as well. Yeah, which isn't great. Magda Bates is saying less games to play, far better injury list. Tonali and Joe and Pope to come back. A few good signs and a good start. I can't see why we're not going to be up there next year. Absolutely. I think we need Champions League to keep a hold of the likes of Isak and Bruno. And we know that. We absolutely know that. We can have one season out of the Champions League. Hopefully we're going to get Europa League. We've got a good chance of going really far in that competition as well, because we've got the players and we've got the quality to do it. So I don't see why we couldn't do it. And if we had players as well, there's some really good players being linked to us. We did the Diomande video today. Very expensive. I'm not sure whether we'll get them. But it's people like Chiesa being linked as well. I know he's got his injury problems in the past, but a top quality player. And there'll be other players there too. Sesko and alike. So as long as the club gets the business done early doors, picks the targets and moves on them, which I think it sounds like that's what they're doing, then there's a real good chance we'll come back even stronger. Get players fit as well. Like you say, Joe Linton fit for next season, Willock fit for next season, Pope fit for next season. Louis Miley's going to have another pre-season to get himself, back into pristine position. I always remember, and I always say this about Louis Miley, Remember that year when Ronaldo went away as a skinny little twerp in pre-season and come back built like a fucking middleweight boxer? Who's to say Louis Milo doesn't do the same thing? Do you know what I'm saying? It could exactly happen, you know? A lovely comment there from Benjamin. Thank you, mate. Top content. Love from Pittsburgh. Love the fact people are listening to us all the way over there, mate. Really appreciate it. I'm doing the best I can. I haven't got my partner in crime tonight, so it's maybe not as good as it normally is, but we'll certainly give it a good go tonight. We've got all you great guys in the comments. It really helps us move on and helps everything flow as well. So yeah, buzzing with that result. You know, didn't see it coming. I think, you know, notable mentions for Dan Burn, who I think was excellent. You know, I think Jacob Murphy coming in the game as well a little bit, even though we said he was really poor at this first half. Everyone was poor in the first half, really. But, you know, there's a couple of lads I want to talk about in a second as well who I thought had an excellent game. Yeah, but overall, when you can win a game 5-1 that you're not even in the first half, I think you're doing really, really well. Yeah, even at you too, Gibbo. Yeah, George, that's right. No Mark tonight. Yes, we've covered that. Mark isn't well, unfortunately, mate. So he's recovering. He's in physio, not the Newcastle physios. Don't worry, he'll be back quicker than that. He hasn't got an ACL they haven't diagnosed or anything like that, but he is in recovery. So yeah, he is in the comments lurking somewhere. He might be getting himself some rest now, but he does see your comments, John. Show. Thank you so much for that as well. Of course I need him. Of course I need him, Ian. He's my wingman. He's like my goose. That obviously didn't crash, you know what I mean? But he's of course I need him, mate. We're a dynamic duo, like Isak and Bruno. They're both ill, George. I'm kind of ill. I'm not as bad as Mark is, unfortunately. But yeah. Thanks a lot, Dan. Really appreciate that, mate. And thanks for your super chat as well, buddy. So yeah, moving on to the next section we're going to talk about, and again, it's about those two players I thought were just brilliant at the weekend, and we called for it in the preview. I think a lot of us called for it. We've been wanting to see it for quite a while. We've seen it in kind of fits and starts, but Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall both played at the weekend and obviously occupied those fullback positions as well. And I've got a little picture here just to pull up. This is their heat maps in terms of how they played. A little bit about their stats as well in a minute. You know, Tino put more tackles in, I think, than Lewis Hall did. And we'll kind of come on to some of the detail here in a second. But in terms of the heat map, you can see the way Tino was up and down that right-hand side. Lewis Hall as well. You know, for a player who attacks a lot, he did a lot of defensive work, as you can see from the red marks there as well. But up and down, he gets into the opposition box as well, has quite a good shot that's really well saved by the Sheffield United keeper, who I thought had a decent game in all fairness. But it was so exciting to see them up and down, you know, flying up and down like modern day fullbacks as well. And just a little bit of information in terms of how they played. So in terms of the passes, Tino Livramento, 92% passing accuracy, 69 of his 75 passes, 3 key passes as well. I think he put in 5 crosses as well. Only one of them got on target. In terms of his tackling, he put in 3 tackles and he had 2 interceptions as well and 3 clearances. So defensively, again, you know, Tino looking really, really strong. In terms of Lewis Hall, not as much in terms of defensive. 1 clearance, 1 tackle, no interceptions. His passing accuracy, 94% for Lewis Hall. So 47 of his 50 passes. Absolutely brilliant. You know, he put in 3 crosses and he got 3 of his 5 long balls were on target as well. And he won 2 of his ground duels and 2 of his aerial duels. So even though he's not the tallest lad, he was actually quite good in the air. Good spring on him, in all fairness, as well. I agree with you, Sean, as well. Yeah, Hall and Gordon are really going to click. They look so dangerous, you know, with that pace. And I think when Hall was cutting inside quite a lot as well, he was up and down, you know, just giving you something that obviously likes of Dan Burn can't give you. And it was great to see. It really, really was. As A2 says there, Hall and Tino both over 90% passing accuracy. Both lads look after the ball. Vital for us to want to progress. You're right, A2. And they're only going to get better as well. Just talking about these players in terms of the ability and the potential that they're going to have, you know, because they're only young lads. I mean, Lewis Hall is 19, Tino is 21. You know, they're already talking about them for, you know, future England fullbacks. I know England are stacked in those areas, but you look at Kieran Trippier, is 33 now. It's going to be his last tournament. What's Kyle Walker, 31? These guys are getting on the wrong side of 30. So, you know, Tino and Hall have got a really good chance coming through. Certainly Hall with a left back position. Tino can play left back too. Is it forcing themselves into that England setup? But never mind England right now. For Newcastle United, they're going to play for the rest of the season. They're going to play in a few games to the rest of the season. We'll come on to the fixtures in a minute. We'll talk about the race for 6th position. But for me, these two lads, I think they're showing that quality now. I think Lewis Hall's worked on whatever he needed to work on.
I think he looks just really composed, really calm on the ball. He's quick. I like how he gets up and has a shot as well. It's a good strike he's had in him as well. I think he had a good strike as well against Palace. He was unlucky with that one. So he sniffs a goal. He fancies his chances up there. Reminds me a lot of like a young Andy Robertson in terms of how he was when he first went to Liverpool, and he worked on his game, he developed, and he become arguably one of the best modern day fullbacks there is. So if Lewis Hall can follow the same, track that Andy Robertson's followed, I think he'd be absolutely fine. George is saying, Christ, the injuries this year off the scale. Chris and Mark had done it. Absolutely. Magdabane's the same, was Mark sent off in the last video, so he misses this one. Yeah, he did too many suspensions. It went to VAR, mate, and then he got sent off the back of that to check the screen. Absolutely. Yeah, Stevie said he wonders why Villa voted against the new proposals today, and City and Man U. Well, I know City and Man U because it would limit their spending options, but Villa's a weird one, Stevie. It really is. I wondered that myself. Very strange, because Villa are kind of in the same position as us. You would have thought that they would have wanted to open that up and spend a little bit more. So a bit odd, a bit strange. Ian says, yeah, Tino was excellent on Saturday, and Hall grew to the game second half. He definitely did, 100%. I thought he was excellent. I really did think that. He was absolutely brilliant. Kenda was saying, we're looking good for savings with new players. Miley, Murphy, Tino, Hall. The latter has a wicked shot. He does. People got to remember that as well. Elliot Anderson's kicked on this season. If he stays fit, I'm gasping for Anderson to get that goal. Again, he was good at the weekend. He's flying into tackles. Looking at Anderson's stats there as well. He didn't get a great score on SofaScore, but just looking at some of his, 89 passing percent accuracy there in terms of his tackles. So he won 2 of his 6 ground duels, 1 of his 1 aerial duels, 1 shot blocked, and he put in 1 tackle, 1 interception. So maybe not as good as we actually thought looking at him, but Anderson just needs that goal. Once he gets that 1 goal, I think he'll go flying there. I really do. I think he'll really kick on and give us another angle there as well. Absolutely. Just check a few more comments. Kev, do we keep Lascelles? Well, he's injured, so I don't think anyone's going to buy him. Is the main thing, and then I think the issue is going to be what would you get from in the transfer market? Really, I think he'll be there as a squad player, but I think looking at the summer, we talked about that with Diomande in the video. Check the video out, guys, if you haven't already. It's still up on the channel. Diomande is very expensive. Do you go for the cheaper options of Lloyd Kelly? And the young, the centre half from Fulham, who's not going to sign a new contract, is it Adebayo or something? Do you go for one of them 2 on a free transfer, and then when Lascelles is fit, maybe trying to get him fit and sell him in January, possibly? Who knows? But I'm not sure you have a long-term future here. But Howe seems to like him, doesn't he? To be fair, yeah. Kev says that the 2 should be starting in the discussion. I agree, mate. I really agree. I think they've proven that they need to start. I think next season, talking about, oh God, Gibbo says Walker's 33 as well. Fucking hell. Definitely got a chance to get into this scene. Yeah, I nearly forgot about Harrison Ashby, Kev. He looks really good as well, doesn't he? I think he had a touch and go season for Swans. I think he started really well, and then he got injured, didn't he? And I'm not sure it's really been as good for him since then. Hi to you in the comments as well, Robert. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for jumping in the comments. So yeah, I think going back to the full-back position, I think Trippier's already made noises about managing his games and his fitness. And I think what will happen next season with Tino and Hall is, certainly with Tino, I think him and Trippier will rotate games. I think you'll see a lot more of Tino on the right-hand side, maybe with Trippier on the bench, and then, Hall on the left-hand side, or maybe we'll have Trips on the right, Tino on the left, move around a bit. I'm not sure we'll sign the left-back in the summer. It all depends on what he thinks of Lewis Hall in terms of his ability to make that spot his own. And how much game time he thinks he'll get out of Trippier, because I don't think you need to buy a player in that position if those 3 between them can stay fit for the majority of the season, because you can rotate the 3 of them in different positions. You can drop the 3 at the back as well if you want to. Maybe you can drop, Christ, dare I even say it, Miggy Almiron. I don't think he'll be here in the summer, but you can drop a midfielder into that position and play them as almost a wing back. So I'm not sure we'll go and buy a left back in the summer, but I might be wrong. It could be something that Howe's looking at, I beg your pardon. Hall won't be looking at it because he wants to be the number 1 fullback. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we do in the summer. with that one. Yeah, you're right. Anderson nearly got his goal again at the weekend, Marcus. And yeah, Kenneth said he was robbed. I mean, it's coming soon. It really, really is. It might even come in that big game against Manchester United to steal sixth position, which we'll get on to in a minute. And yeah, what a goal that would be! Absolutely for Anderson to get his first goal. Yeah, our wages to turnover is 75%, says Sean, but Villas is nearly at 90. That might have something to do with it. Very possibly, mate. Very possibly. There had to be a reason for it. I just think that they've obviously picked their reason for it, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Should VAR get barred in the Premier League? Well, we're going to talk about that now at 2 in a minute, but I don't think it's working. I think it needs to be either addressed or binned, and I think they're not addressing it, so I would bin it. I know it's not actually VAR's benefit, as you think of the Arsenal game, but to me, I just don't think that VAR is working proper. I don't think it's fit and proper, to use the right terminology. And for me, I just think it's going to get in the bin. One last one on the fullbacks. Yeah, what an opportunity for Matty Target, apart from he's never fit. I think he's done with Target, Sean. I don't think Target has kicked on. I think he was brilliant on loan when we had him on loan, and then we signed him permanently, and then he got injured, and then he obviously fancied Burn over him, which that's a worrying sign for Target, in general. When a centre half is preferred to you in the full back position, that's a real worry. So I think for me, I don't think he fancies Target, and Target can probably get some money for him as well. You can probably sell him on and get a bit of money from someone will buy him like Brighton or Fulham or something like that, or even one of the teams coming up, Leicester, Southampton. Somebody will go for Target and buy him, and I think we'll probably end up selling him. So I think the likes of Almiron, him, dare I say it, Wilson. Wilson still showed at the weekend what he's capable of, but I don't think Wilson wants to be a number 2 or number 3 striker. And obviously his fitness record is a big issue as well. So I think they're the kind of players that, as Kendall says, he looked dodgy after that injury. He really has. He seems to have lost a yard. But I still think we'll be able to sell him and get some decent money for him. So as we know, we're pushing for Europe. And that game at the weekend really helped get us there. So we're going to talk about 6th. That's right, 6. No dodgy bots in the comments there as well. So we're just talking about what the chances are of us getting 6th position now. So I would say it's more or less a straight shootout between us and Manchester United, to be fair. I know you can't really discount the other teams that are in it as well, but it's looking very like us and Manchester United. So our remaining fixtures, just to be clear now, we've got Burnley at the weekend, and then we've got Brighton after that at home, and then the big one against Manchester United on the 15th, and then we finish the season away at Brentford. And Manchester United's fixtures, just for comparison, so they've got Crystal Palace away at Selhurst Park on Monday, and the way Palace played against us, that could be a real issue for them, and they could be on the end of a defeat there. Then they've got Arsenal at Old Trafford, and then they've got us at Old Trafford straight after that, and then they've got Brighton away, and that's their remaining games. So just looking at those fixtures for me, I really do think that Newcastle, I've got to say, they're in the driving seat for that position, certainly against Manchester United. I mean, you're looking at the points table in terms of where we sit at the table at the minute, just pulling that up there. So looking at that in a minute, so we're sitting on 53 points, Man United on 54, and they've got West Ham, who's playing an extra game than us, on 49 points. And then below them, you've got Chelsea, Bournemouth on 48. So for me, I just don't think that those teams are going to have enough to catch us or Manchester United. So that's why I think it's between us two. And you look at those fixtures, I think the fact that they've got Palace, Arsenal, and they've got Newcastle United to play. Obviously, we've got Manchester United to play. I really think that we have to be in the driving seat for this position. Manchester United are not playing very well at all. They weren't good against Burnley. They haven't been good for weeks. There's talk of dissent in the dressing room. I mean, Eric Ten Hag came out with the weirdest shit at the weekend, saying that they're one of the most dynamic, entertaining teams to watch. I've got no idea what he was smoking or drinking before his press conference there, but he come out and he said that. And even the Man United fans are scratching their heads going, what the fuck is this guy talking about? So just for me, I think they've completely lost the plot. I think they're already looking for a new manager. I don't know if anybody saw Peter Schmeichel was getting interviewed by the old hairy hand bastard, Richard Keys himself. I think it was on BN. And they asked him about Thomas Tuchel, and he was very coy and he was very sheepish. And bear in mind, he was sitting next to Sir Jim Twatcliffe at the game the other day. So I think Peter Schmeichel might be a little bit privy to some inside information. And Tuchel's obviously going to get flicked by Bayern Munich. And now, whether people like Tuchel or not, I think he'd be a half decent manager to come in in terms of Manchester United. Obviously, we don't want them to have a really good manager, do we? But I do think that they're really on the spiral. We've got a new member there, Stevie B has clicked that button. Thank you so much, Stevie. Really appreciate that, bud. Welcome to the squad. So again, just looking at that, Marcus is saying I'm all in on 6. Hopefully, Alexander the Great gets his first hattie against Man U. Oh, that'd be so sweet. It really, really would. Kendall said we're both in contention, but both inconsistent. That's a very valuable point. It's doable, and we've got Wilson back, but only if the lads wake up. We cannot have a first half like Sheffield United probably against Burnley either, but against Manchester United at Old Trafford, we could be completely out of sight before we even realise what is going on. Kev is saying, how on earth have Man United not lost as many as they should? I've no idea, Kev. I really don't know. They just seem to be one of these weird teams that get away with it. A2 saying we will win 2 out of 2 before going to Old Trafford. It's crucial. Don't want to be going there needing to win against those fluky, snaky bastards. Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. They do just seem to fluke their way through things, don't they? They're just not a good side. They really, really aren't. Dan is saying Ten Hag is completely right. There's nothing more entertaining than watching Man U get battered. I love that, Dan. You're absolutely right. As somebody who grew up watching Manchester United beat us for the title, as in, again, another reference to the old KK days, and we'll love it if we beat them. Love it. We didn't beat them, so I fucking hate Man U. And watching them implode is just sweet. Hook it to my veins, as Barney Gumble would say. But yeah, looking at that position, I definitely think that we're in the driving seat for it. We have to have a good performance against Burnley. And then I think going to Manchester United is a big one. It really, really is. Brighton at home again, we need to make sure we dispatch Brighton. Brighton haven't been great either. De Zerbi, is he staying? Is he going? There's a bit of unrest there, in terms of what's going on with that football club. So as George says there, upside down head is a basket case. He certainly is. Brian is saying, are you aware we set a Premier League record on Saturday? I think it was for the goals scored, Brian, and also beating a team by as many goals, wasn't it, mate? I think it was 13 goals in a single fixture, as in home and away against Sheffield United. Yes, I'm aware of that one as well. But yeah, I think we scored more goals now than the Keegan season, believe it or not, which was amazing, really. We just can't defend, can we, really, for love nor money, in all fairness. So yeah, that is the issue. I think this season the defence has been a problem. So for me, that needs addressed in the summer. We're talking about that. We'll talk about that at the end of the season. Me and Mark will go through it in detail in terms of what do we need, in terms of the squad. We put a poll out on X. I haven't actually checked that poll for a while. I'm going to check it right now live with you guys. That's what we're doing when I'm on my own here, and I need to try and balance this on my own. Let's have a look. So yeah, we put a poll out. To say what positions need to be signed the most. And defence did win. So we had 105 votes, and defence won 49%, midfield 44%, and attack 8%. So let us know in the comments what you guys think. Where would you address in terms of the Newcastle squad? What's a priority for you? Is it the defence? Is it the midfield? Or is it the attack? I think we need a splattering of everything, really. But where would you focus more of the funds on, especially if we're able to spend more funds? So that'd be an interesting one for you guys to let us know in the comments about that. Yeah, Kev definitely thinks it's the defence that has been really, really poor this season. Kendo says score more goals. Let's in goals. How's more Keegan than Keegan? He certainly is. He just hasn't got the wobbler tossing, has he? In all fairness. So, all right, let's get stuck in here. So Adiyai saying, hi Chris. How are Burnley versus Newcastle? Yeah, that's your lineup, mate. Yeah, absolutely. I think I saw that before as well. Yeah, that's a fair lineup, mate. That's a fair lineup. That's kind of what we've got really at the minute. I think Longstaff will continue to play because he backs Longstaff. I see that comment there, Kev. Yeah, no worries, mate. Appreciate that. I just ignored it, to be honest with you, because I thought it was a stupid comment and wrong as well, because that is not the case, as everyone watching the stream knows, especially long-time viewers as well. Marcus is saying he would sign right centre-back, keeper, right winger, and the centre-forward. Dan is saying he would say we need a solid second striker to road to Isak. That's the Sesko boy for me, I think, mate. That's a good sign on that if we can get him. But then defence, Sean, the cells are great. Burn can do a job, but they're getting on a bit. They really, really are. I think we've even seen that from the last season, Dan, to this season, haven't we? The age catches up on a player. You lack that little yard of pace. I think big injuries to Dan Burn, doing his back in, coming back too soon, didn't help him because he's not blessed with pace anyway. So then he's obviously having even more of a problem. Fabian Schär's been brilliant this season, in all fairness. You can count him on times on one hand. Schär's, made a mistake. The injuries to Botman's not been great. The injuries to Trippier's not been great. So the best defence in the league broken up completely by injury and form. which hasn't been great. George is saying, without Mark, I'm like Dennis Waterman, writing the poll, reading the poll, singing the poll. Very true, mate. Yeah, and there's only less ginger. Luke Davis is saying centre back, right winger, and 2 strikers. Yeah, I can see that, mate. I think that's a good shout. Ian is, Kendo is saying 1 elite defender, which could be Diamande. 2nd solid keeper and 3rd choice striker can work. Absolutely. Sorry, Ian, your comment was 2 keepers, 2 centre backs, and a striker. I'm not sure if we'll get 2 keepers, mind you. I think we might get 1 decent one. Then obviously we've got Gillespie. Sorry, Ian, once again to make you feel sick, but Gillespie's going to be the 3rd choice. I agree with you, Luke. A centre back with speed. I said that in the Diamanda video. He's got pace, and we need pace because we're lacking it badly at the back. David saying now we need Tomori. Yeah, ACO is 1. I don't think they'll help us out at all, mate, but I do like Tomori. Why has nobody gone for him? I just can't get my head around it. He's such a good player. Pace, good on the ball, good defender. Just seems really weird. Why is he not in the England team? Absolutely fucking mental. I don't know why he's not in the England team. Crazy. And Harry Maguire beats me. You have to ask Gareth Southgate. Another one there from Sean. Getting Lloyd Kelly is not enough. 2 centre backs, 1 DM, and a striker. Now, I think if Newcastle are going to be thrifty here, we're going to do a video on this anyway, but I'll touch on it now. If we're going to be thrifty in terms of the transfer market and use funds for other players, you've got people like Lloyd Kelly and Adewale from Fulham, and then even people like Ndidi, who's coming up from Leicester. Now, hear me out. Experienced defensive midfielder, Premier League experience, still not a bad age. Can do a job at number 6 if we need him. Can be a squad player. You can just bring him in if and when you need him to sit on a player and try and stop him playing. We haven't had that player, so that's thrifty signings. But then you go out and you want to get at least 2 or 3 proper quality players that improve this squad. You could even get a couple that improve the 11. Because I think you have to be honest and say that bits of quality we are missing. Game changers we are missing. I think for what it's worth, Harvey Barnes is a game changer, but he's been injured all season. We haven't really seen a lot of him, but the cameos we've seen of him this season when he's been fit, he's shown his quality. If you can get Barnes fit and playing, I think you've got 15 goals there. I really do. And there could be match-winning goals that take us from being 6th to 4th or 3rd, because that's how valuable I think a player like Barnes can be when he's fit and firing. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Big season for Barnes next season, huge season. Christopher Moody is saying, I think we need 1 or 2 central defenders, 1 with pace, a keeper, and a centre forward. That's not a bad shout, mate. Not a bad shout. Kendo say we need at least 5 keepers for the bench. Yeah, we seem to be doing that. Brian thinks we should get a DM. Absolutely, yeah. And Kev saying Gareth Southgate fancies Maguire way too much. Luke would take Lloyd Kelly. I think he's a good signing for a free transfer, mate. I wasn't sure at first, Luke, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought it could be a good signing. I really do think that. Yeah, it's a weird one, that Marcus, because I think Cher could play as a 6 because he's that good on the ball. But I think he lacks a bit of pace. And I think that catches him out a little bit, especially with players like Phil Foden. And Phil Foden could catch anybody out at the minute, but players like Foden could really, really cause you trouble if you haven't got pace in that number 6 role. You've got to be great positional sense in that role. Like Kante was the best. He had a little bit of pace as well, but Kante, Makaleli, guys like that was the best. I'm not sure that Tonali is a 6, Kev. He's a bit of a 6.5 or 7.5. Doesn't know what he wants to be, but I'm really interested to see how Tonali plays next season. I saw some clips doing the rounds with him, Joe Litton and Bruno doing little 1-2s against the Villa. We beat them 5-1, which was, God, that seems like a million years ago. But Tonali owes the club, he owes the fans. And I really want to see how well he performs when he comes back. And I think for me that he could be massive for us next season if he really knuckles down and he shows what he can do. Absolutely. 100%. So moving on to the last section of the night, guys, which is my favorite one, Out of Toon, even though I love talking about Newcastle. So it's just about things that have been going on outside of the world of Newcastle United. Now, bear with me. I'm going to try to get this as much as I possibly can. The funny story, I suppose, of the weekend was Liverpool blowing it once again. That never gets old. That really, really doesn't. And there was a bit of a fallout between 2 of Liverpool's legends and Jurgen Klopp and Mo Salah. Apparently, this all came about because Jurgen Klopp likes to shake the hands of his players when they go on, to get them in the right mindset. And Salah wasn't bothered about shaking his hand because he was pissed off he didn't start him. So had a little bit of a spat, a little bit of a tete-a-tete. Now Salah's came out apparently and said that he wants to stay anyway. It could have something to do with the new manager coming in, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, for Jurgen Klopp, it just seems to be going from bad to worse for you, doesn't it? There's the legacy of Jurgen Klopp is just, kind of burning in front of everybody's eyes, which I'm sorry, I can't contain my smile because he's become such an irritating prick over the last few years that I'll be glad to see the back of him. By the way, credit for David Moyes. I loved his little speech about Jurgen Klopp when he said, I'll be glad to see the back of him. Too fucking big, teeth too bright, which was excellent. He did say a bit tongue-in-cheek, mind you, but it was quite funny. It was quite funny, it was a bit. But Liverpool apparently have got their new man in terms of a manager, which is this fella here, which is Arne Slot. Who the fuck is that guy? I hear you say it in a Conor McGregor style. Well, he's a Feyenoord manager. No, he's not number one in the Phil Mitchell lookalike contest. He is, in fact, the Feyenoord manager. And he's very excited about coming to Liverpool, by all accounts. Now, I'm very excited about him coming to Liverpool because I don't think he's going to be able to do anything near what Jurgen Klopp has been doing. And I think they're going to go away from the big picture. Yeah, Lucas said he plays good football. Yeah, he might do, mate, but I just think that Liverpool job might be one too big for him. I think that's the reason Alonso didn't want it, because why would he come and be the guy after Jurgen Klopp? It's the same thing, that Moyes had at Manchester United. It's the same thing as well in terms of what happened with Wenger as well. So yeah, I just think it's a good idea from Alonso not to do it. I still think he'll take the Real Madrid job, but yeah, I can really see this lad struggling at Liverpool, and fucking let's hope that is the case. Thanks for that, Duncan. I really appreciate that, mate. It's been a while since I've done a solo one, but Mark should be back soon, hopefully. You've had a couple of large ones, but I can't do it. It would have been a very interesting podcast if I had a few large ones, mate. I tell you what, I would have been in big trouble there. I think big trouble. Yeah, Kev is saying, what's with all the bald Premier League managers? Now, steady, Kev. As a physically challenged individual myself, I'm heading down that road. So I'm not going to have a go at bald managers, mate. Just because our manager has a great thick head of hair, him and the Mad Dog with a great bonnet there. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I hope he struggles big time, because he's just a fucking, glad to say. I'd love to see Liverpool fall in their arse. I really, really would. It'd be absolutely spectacular. Jared Bowen scored against Liverpool the weekend. He got his 20th goal of the season. Now, this is one for Mark. We're going to talk about this when Mark was here, because Mark is a huge fan of this particular world. I haven't got the patience for it, but this is what Jared Bowen had said when he scored the 20th goal. I think somebody said, how are you going to celebrate reaching your 20 goal mark? And Jared Bowen says, I'm going to go home and play as Hereford FC on Championship Manager for 2008. I bought it for 50 pence, and I'm going to load it into my computer, which is brilliant from Jared Bowen, to be fair. So any Champ Manager fans in the comments there will love that one, absolutely. So I thought that was class from Jared Bowen, in all fairness, which is good. I like it when players like that have a bit of character about them. And Jared Bowen seems like a decent bloke and a good character. I hope he gets on that plane as well for England, because he absolutely deserves it, not at the expense of Anthony Gordon, mind you, because he's been absolutely class. Bournemouth had a good result at the weekend, but very weird on social media, I must say. They decided to tweet this, which blew my mind. So, as you remember, Justin Kluivert's dad, Patrick Kluivert, scored in Newcastle. Not just in the big market. He did score a few goals, not many. Scored 6 goals for Newcastle United. And Bournemouth decided to make a massive deal about the fact that Justin Kluivert has leaped ahead of his dad in terms of Premier League goals with 7 compared to 6. And it was a little bit of a what the fuck moment, really, Bournemouth, in terms of your Twitter. That's a bit tin pot, I must say. 7 goals, really? That's not really particularly great. I don't think that's something to be too excited about and post too much about. But hey, I'm not running the Bournemouth the Bournemouth Twitter account. But yeah, Patrick Kluivert wasn't exactly at his prime when he was at Newcastle. He spent more time in the big market than he did at the backstick, let's be honest with you, trying to get ahead of. But yeah, we'll leave that one there, Bournemouth. Whatever floats your boat, to be fair. But yeah, I suppose just finishing up on something, a couple of Newcastle points, actually, even though we say it's Out of Toon. Fuck it, let's go back to Toon, because it's only me on my own, so fuck it, let's go back to Toon, because I haven't got all of the Out of Toon things to cover. Now, as you're aware, we saw an iconic celebration at the weekend, which was this. Bruno Guimaraes, as we mentioned at the start, he was so enamored by the Brazilian war flag display. When he scored his mint diving header, he decided to whip out the corner flag and pose in this amazing iconic pose, very similar to what Tino did a few years ago. But this thing is going to be, that picture is going to be on everybody's prints and T-shirts and fucking everything for years to come. Now, we were all totally in awe of that moment from Bruno, but a massive shout out goes to somebody who stayed really cool in the moment, whoever this coffee guy was in that particular moment, just sipping away on his latte there, not a care in the world, the personification of calmness. So if any of you lot know who the coffee guy is, tell him, respect, mate, respect for keeping your composure in amongst the madness of of that as well. As Kenneth says, that was a work of art, that celebration. We've already seen some great prints from, I think, Matty, the lad who does all the prints. We've got some of his prints that we give away, some of our prizes as well. And yeah, he's done an amazing job on that. So go check Matty's website out, because he's been absolutely class in terms of his prints, and he's got the Bruno one up there already, which is absolutely amazing. And one last thing in terms of the Toon, even though we're out of Toon, we're going back in Toon. So we've all seen the leaks for the strips in terms of what's out there at the minute. Is it the real strip? Is it not the real strip? I think a lot of people seem to be talking about one or two particular designs, and Gallagher Shots did a great video on that as well in terms of the strips that could be the leak strips. Now, you're probably onto the right track when DHgate leak that actual strip for sale on the gate, as you can see there. So not that we condone anybody buying off the gate, obviously buy off the club, etc., yada, yada, yada. Got to say my thing there. But got to say that there's got to be a bit of smoke here and amongst this fire if our kits, our leak kits, are on the gate, to be fair. So yeah, you've got to give them a little bit of respect. They must know something that we don't. Kendo was saying the coffee guy was toasting Bruno. Absolutely. Yeah, Marcus, great shout. Donate everything you can at War Flags. He donates as much as he can. I think they're having a quiz night actually at the ground, and me and Mark might be looking to head up there, guys. So if any of you are going to the War Flags event, if we can get tickets to go, we might see some of you up there. So we'll keep you posted on that if we're good. Yeah, massive respect to that one, Dave. The chance of Richie driving the team bus when the Champions League was mint, was it he drives what he wants. Matt Ritchie drives what he wants. That was amazing. I love those chants. I really do. Absolutely class. George is saying it's really vodka. He's pissed mortal. Maybe he was. After that first half, you might have needed a bit of alcohol in your system, mate, to enjoy the game, I must admit. Kendo's saying we need the grander collar. Love the away kit. I'm not sure they'll do the grander collars again, but I think one thing is for sure, that Adidas just make really good kits, don't they, guys? I just think we're in for an unbelievable kit, next season, and hopefully we'll get a few more good players in there as well. Yeah, Keith's going to the War Flags quiz. I'm going to have to look at that, mate. I really am. Hopefully there's enough tickets left, Keith. I might look at that tomorrow. I might book me and Mark some tickets, mate, and we'll let you know on the next show if we'll get more horses along there, because it'd be quite cool. Quite enjoy that. We'll maybe have a pint with some of you as well if you're up there. But yeah, it's War Flags just immense what they do. They deserve all the praise and support that they get. But I've done an hour there, guys, so you've kept me through it. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate that. It's never nice to do this without the partner in crime. Hopefully he will be back very, very soon. But thank you very much for all the love and the lovely comments for Mark in the chat there. I'm sure you'll see them wherever he is recovering. And as I mentioned at the start, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe. Help us get to that 7,500 mark. We're really, really close to it, which is amazing. I should hopefully be getting that 7,000 subscriber prize next week off my main man. So I will definitely get a video up here, and we'll try and get a little winning lucky draw for you there as well. So yeah, keep tuning the channel, guys. Steady, Kendo, steady. We know who he is. Thank you so much, guys, for all the great comments as well. Have a cracking evening wherever you are, everybody. Thanks for watching Evermore. We'll be back with the usual match reviews and everything else towards the end. So wherever you are, everybody, have a cracking evening, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.